Here, Morefolk, is what I promised. The video that will explain what has come to pass. Whether I survived or died as a product of my endeavors, you have been sent this file which will transcend my mortality. No narcissistic rambles this time. No shit spewing, no fluff. Whether you have followed along with me or not, whether you sympathize with me or not, this is it. What I pray to be my final note to Morefolk. J. Start of audio transcription.
Saw my camera activate a couple of minutes ago. How long are you gonna watch before speaking up, creepy bastard? You're smart, detective. Yes, I've been monitoring you. So, you're masking yourself with a voice changer plug-in. Disappointing. I figured it'd be a bold one. Hacking broadcasts and now my private computer. You know all this is illegal, right? Scrap that stupid question. Of course you do. Irrelevant of all that. You know why I'm here. Why I'm doing this. You and the station pigs have been hiding something, haven't you? Something deep, something dark. A gross lie that's kept, lest the glue holding this town together would wither away into dust. Feeling poetic, aren't you? Even when pulling shit out of your ass, you still make it sound cryptic. Didn't you recently send an email apologizing for how much of an attention seeker you are? Already walking back on it now. I know your type. You lot can't help yourselves. You can only ramp it up, creating more hype for yourself to feel whatever thrill you're chasing. And what is my type, detective? Those who oppose lies, injustice, and cruelty. Those who stand above the tidal wave of unfairness and abuse, firm like a tree, unwavering in belief. Don't kid yourself. You ain't a prophet. Just a shit stirrer. Wanna know something, Jay? I know a lot more about you than you think. I mean, hell, I'm a damn homicide detective. Psychologically profiling freaks like you is in my pay grade. Give me a moment. I'm gonna sip my coffee. Had a long day. You know nothing about me. If you did, you'd be trembling with... And that's a good cup of joe. Where was I? Right, the psychological profile of a man-child like yourself. Listen, your speciality is tech. We've obviously been trying to locate you by tracing information you might leave behind post-firewall intrusions. Clearly, we've not had that much success. Why are you telling me this? To point out the obvious. You have your passion. I have mine. Your mistake was thinking yourself untouchable so long as you secured yourself in the realm of technology. But I see you for what you are. A scared child doing all he can to claim a sense of power. Your emails, your broadcast hijacks, your fake empathy for the people of Morefolk. You don't care, do you? It's all a facade, and that's got me thinking. Your ramblings stop it. I'm more than what you claim me to be. Don't try and reduce me to something so basic. Are you now? I mean, shit. I was chatting with our tech department the other day. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm not giving you enough credit. 'Cause honestly, despite how much of a roach you are, the tech folk were impressed with your capabilities. Really impressed. And here I was like, shit, this guy is good, isn't he? But something didn't add up. This is a small town, man. A small town where technology isn't exactly something we focus in teaching. Hell, most of our tech people are out-of-towners who moved in after learning that trade somewhere else. Somewhere fancier. That and your fake empathy and shit-stirring you displayed. It's clear to me you don't have connections or regard to this place. You ain't from here, are you? And so what? You suspect I'm not from here, so everything I'm showing the people is a lie? Nah, not just that. I suspect you ain't from here, but that wasn't the end point of my thought process. I mean, why the ever-loving fuck would someone not from this town go out of their way to frame themselves as a resident? Why would they deliver confusing, potentially hysteria-inducing messages? Coincidentally, after a series of unprecedented murders began, mind you. Call me crazy, but that sounds malicious. The things you've done, they're not just a harmless prank. You're trying to obstruct justice. Tell me, Jay, why would an outsider try to obstruct justice regarding a murder case within a town he has no residency in? You have a horse in this race, don't you? A nice theory, I'll give you that. Is that your plan now? To string together a motivation for me to be a murderer? An explanation stuck together with spit and gum riding on the shoulders of your armchair psychology? Oh, but you fail to understand, Jay. We're gonna sniff you out. And we're gonna hit you with the full extent of the law. You were under the impression that we had no leads, but we always did. You kept giving them to us after all. And no, they weren't in the form of some creature your sick mind made up. You're a stranger tampering with an investigation. With your ability, with technology, and your level of planning, you also demonstrate the skill and patience to pull off these killings. You fit the bill more than any other soul in this damn town. If that's the case, how do you explain the monster woman? What is she if it's been me all along? Who's to say? How you did it will come in time. Maybe we'll get a confession. Perhaps you drugged the victims and made them more susceptible to your suggestions. They saw what you wanted them to see. Hell, you could have a weird skin suit with zippers to add to the illusion, placing the children inside those pockets whilst the parents see something more monstrous. However it is you're doing this, we'll find out. Trust in that. You think you're so smart, don't you? Sitting here and mundanifying this with your excuses and rationalizations. Assholes like you who deny what's truly happening are part of why these deaths have continued. But don't worry, detective. I will show you that you have a much bigger role to play in this. All this cruelty, all this horror, it's your fault. Save it, guy. You're growing more and more confident, but you'll only become more and more sloppy. Ever heard of fucking the pooch? You did it. Yeah, I've heard it. In many ways, I did fuck the pooch. But I could never have fucked up as much as you did. So tell me, detective. Ever heard of Jill Olsen? I'm sorry? You heard me, detective. Do you know... I don't know what the hell this is, and I certainly don't know who the hell you're referring to. Jill Olsen, detective. The twitch of your eye lets me know very well of your current attitude. How you never expected to hear that name again. It makes your skin crawl, doesn't it? Look, asshole, I'm not here to play games. I'm cutting off this conversation if you're just gonna waste my time with pointless questions. Very odd, detective. Here I was under the impression that building a psychological profile was your forte. Was I mistaken, or have the recent developments rendered you nervous? I am not in a position to disclose encounters I've had with individuals, especially not with people like you. Ah, so you went from not knowing who that was to not being willing to talk about who it is. How weird. Considering Jill Olsen has no case in your station's database. No, she hasn't been involved with the Morefolk police at all. So how do we both know who she is, detective? Are you there, detective? What do you want? We want the truth, detective. She wasn't anybody. She was just some woman who passed through Morefolk. I caught her walking through the town and she looked lost and confused and I checked on her. Made sure she was safe and okay, not up to trouble and... You sound worried, detective. Why are you so defensive over such an insignificant interaction? Whatever you're trying to do, it's not working. You got that? What is it you told your old pal Pretty, detective? Everyone has demons, including yourself. From the looks of it, your demons still haunt you. And now they haunt Morefolk itself due to your sheer cowardice. And what are your demons, Jay? What are you, some lonely, attention-deprived criminal with a thirst for disorder? What demons led you to our town where you decided to play God? She was not a demon, detective. She was simply a victim of the one monster whose eyes I look into here and now. You made her as she is in the present. You know it, and I know it. You made her. Jill Olsen, I believe at the time you two crossed paths. She was 25, no? Are you insinuating that somehow my engagement with some random out-of-the-towner turned into all this? Some freaking nature monster preying on innocence? You sound insane. You need help, Jay. Serious help. 25, yes. 25, but you could hardly tell based on how thin she was. Thin as the strands of hair atop her head. Thin as the scars on her arms and body. You're not even making sense. Do you hear yourself? Whatever psychosis you're in, you need to be dragged out of it. You're a danger to yourself and others, Jay. Please let me help you. I know you've seen how me and the guys at the station help Pretty. You know we care. You know we don't just want people to suffer in their own misery. Please, where can we find you? Tell me before you do something you regret. You don't wish for the people to suffer in their own misery. Is that your logic? Was that your logic when Jill Olsen wandered into this forsaken town? When was that? January 23rd, 2003. 20 years on the dot, Casper. 20 fucking years. Even the days are the same. January 23rd. 20 years? Wait, you can't be serious. Even still, there were some details I don't know. Of course, I wouldn't know. I wasn't there. But you were. Out alone on that street with her in the middle of the night. How glossy were her eyes, detective? Were the track marks on her arms to your liking? I suppose the syringes weren't a turn-off, at least not enough of one anyway. Do you think this is a joke? What is this? I don't need this shit right now. Sit, detective. A man as smart as you was likely able to tell. She was barely conscious, wasn't she? Being in that kind of state can get someone into a lot of trouble. And as a man of the law, bringing her in would have been your responsibility. That's not what happened, though, was it? I don't know what you're talking. And yet, you won't turn off the computer. You know what this is. Your day of reckoning. The day in which your demons claw their way out from the hatch and emerge to confront you face to face. There's a reason Jill Olsen never faced charges for her addiction. Someone offered her an out. Isn't that right, detective? A get-out-of-jail-free card. A quid pro quo. She was just a stranger. I didn't do anything. I was young and inexperienced and stupid, okay? You got me. I let her off the hook when I should have taken her in and got her the help she needed. Are you happy? Were you really so benevolent, detective? Or did you demand compensation for your act of charity? Did you feel powerful, violating her that night? Did it make you feel good to take her as yours? Did her saying yes to you in that state of desperation and fear grant you all the justification you needed? It wasn't like that. How dare you accuse me of something like this? Everyone saw how I was with Pretty. You showed them. Showed them how I treat people who are going through their worst moments. I'm not a goddamn monster. Do you treat him that way as an act of kindness, or as a means of scrubbing away the filth within you? Doing it just so that in moments like these, be it when I confront you, or when you have to confront yourself as you lay alone in bed, you have a way of pushing that guilt down and out of sight and out of mind. The whole town would never believe her, and you knew that. Even if she did return with a complaint, nobody would trust a drugged-up outsider over you. They'd side with your story and lie to themselves about what really happened. How you abused her. How you assaulted her. Don't say that. I didn't do that thing. It wasn't like that. She offered it to me. She made advances on me. And I tried to tell her no and push her off, but she didn't listen. Was it worth it, Detective? A few short moments of satisfaction at the expense of a life? A troubled life, but a life all the same. Did you even know she later died? Found collapsed and unresponsive just a few towns over, only a couple of days after what you did. Were you even aware? Did it ever cross your mind? Or was she just some tainted meat to you? Yeah, I was fucking aware. Look, you think I'm proud of this shit? It never happened again. Never, and I did so fucking much for this town. I've served as detective for 2 decades, you hear me? Hard fucking work to keep everyone safe, to look after those who needed it. I'm not a monster. I'm a good man who made a mistake. I can't change the past. Nobody can. You can't change the past, yet you're making the choice to actively hide from it. The fact that you're living your life as you please, comfortable and safe, is proof enough that you're no different now from who you were then. If you really gave a fuck, you'd have stepped down and confessed your sins long before having your hand forced like this. She shouldn't have even been in town. What business did she even have here? What could she have possibly wanted? She was sick in the head, wandering aimlessly like a zombie. You think I meant any harm? I didn't mean it. It's been 20 years. And here you are, doing nothing as everyone suffers from your choice. Of what relevance is her having been in this town? Perhaps it was senseless, but it doesn't explain why you chose to do what you did. She had a child, did you know? A little boy, barely old enough to walk. Lord knows how he felt after never seeing his mother again. Not that he'd remember much, thank God. Even still, a child will know when something is wrong, despite not being able to capture what it is. It can stick with them, last for years and years, boiling up under the surface before bursting like a pipe. I never knew. You're not lying, are you? She's real, isn't she? You're telling the truth. Yeah, I am. Now there's only one question that remains unanswered. One more question worth asking that will determine if there's any value left within the meaningless husk you call yourself. What am I going to do? You'll never be redeemed. You're a disgusting piece of shit that will rot in hell when it's all said and done. Her blood is on your hands. The blood of the women and children that's been spilled stains you as well. You took an oath to serve justice and protect the people. In many ways, we have both failed to achieve this. I'm ready to do what is needed to reconcile this great disappointment. But you, detective, that's it, isn't it? This is how to stop her. To come clean willingly to face my punishment. If that's what needs to be done, I guess that's it, right? Look, I'm sorry. The time for apologies has ended. You defined yourself by your actions once. Do it again. She demands it. Fine. I'll get it set up. I promise. You understand the repercussions of lying to me, yes? What, she'll kill me? No. More people will die because of you. I figured as much. Just promise me she'll be gone after this. She'll leave this town alone, right? As far as I'm aware, yes. And there's nothing else to discuss. And so be it. Do not disappoint me.
The detective has confessed to me. Whether that sick man is doing this out of a sense of duty or a selfish desire to save his own arse and feel good about himself, I don't care. All that is of importance is what she decides. I only hope that I've made the right decision to save her and to save this town. In the end, I suppose that whatever agency is out there is pleased with the result. The two loose ends of this mess tied up in a neat little bow. A sacrifice I'll gladly make for the sake of truth and justice. Throughout all the lies and half-truths, I have always wanted what was best. For all of us. Now it's time to follow through on that want. Much like I told the detective, we are defined by our actions. That's how it'll always be. Before I part, although I do not expect to return from this, let one thing be completely, utterly clear. I would not, nor will I ever, take my life. The rotten bastards will have to earn the privilege of seeing me dead. Farewell for the last time. J. Beloved Morefolk Detective Clark Casper found killed in home. It is with much regret that I inform you that Detective Clark Casper, age 45, was found killed in his home Wednesday night. After neighbors reported hearing several gunshots, police arrived at the scene to find Clark Casper gravely wounded. Despite the best efforts of emergency services, he was pronounced dead upon arrival at Morefolk Hospital. Also at the scene was the body of an unidentified subject who is believed to have been Clark Casper's assailant. The subject was found dead at the scene, seemingly killed through a self-inflicted gunshot wound according to investigators. No form of identification was found on the individual, and no public attempts to identify the subject will be made as a product of their grisly state. It is believed that the assailant did not come alone, as a pair of small female footprints were discovered at the scene of the crime. Morefolk police are diligently working in tandem with the state police and the FBI to cross-reference these prints for any matches. Although this tragedy is sudden and shocking, Morefolk police urge the public to not jump to any sudden conclusions. Whether the deceased assailant has ties to the serial harasser known as J is currently unclear. The public is simply asked to continue showing support to the police force, as well as the friends and family of Detective Clark Casper during this solemn time. As a man who truly exemplified virtue and selflessness was lost, but not one person would ever forget him and his infectiously cheerful attitude. God rest your soul, Clark Casper. Phil Pratt.